Hey there, welcome back to the Mothcast, a podcast about video games and how a couple of moths feel about them. The game for episode 40 is called Gris, an artistic side-scrolling platformer about deeper themes. Ready your canvas and watercolors, and let's get into the podcast. Alright, so the game today, this week, is called Gris.
Gris. And it's not a cooking game.
And it's not a cooking game. It's spelled Gris. I suppose before we go further, I'll explain to you why it's called that. And it will make complete sense. And we'll sort of talk about it. It's the Spanish word for gray.
Oh, it is, isn't it?
It is, yes.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, so in the context of the video game that we just played, it makes a lot of sense why it would be called gray, but in Spanish. There are some other tie-ins to other things that we can talk about when we get to graphics. So don't forget them. But yeah, so Gris is a game that is frankly incredible. I'm not going to bury the lead here. This game's incredible.
That's exactly right. It is incredible just to put it, just to shorten the whole video.
Yeah. All right. Podcast over. Go home. Just go play the game. This game is a side scroller platformer puzzle game.
Puzzle, yeah.
As basic as it gets, right? You could put Mario in the same category. And, there are some people that say that Mario is also a bit of a masterpiece, but no. I don't think you understand. This game is one of the best games I've ever played in my life.
Really. It really is. It was so good.
I was sort of reflecting on this series that we've done, and all the games, and I'm like, when we get to our stopping point at a certain amount of time, I want to do a reflection podcast about all the games that we played, make a tier list of all the games that we've played, blah, 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 all this stuff. And I was like, what if, one of the questions that I came up with, very simple, what's your favorite game or the best game that you've played all year from the podcast? And
I would say, I don't know.
Well, but the thing is
probably,
I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, how would Undertale not take that every time, right?
Yeah. Well,
how is that possible?
I don't know. There's a few good ones we played. When you played Firewatch, you said that was one of the best games you've played.
Yeah, it is. And
then of course there's Turnip Boy.
Yeah, that's true. We've got the second one coming up here soon. But I'm just saying Undertale is really one of the best games in history. Actually one of the best games.
Yeah, one of the best games.
And this game,
the amount of impact it had whenever he made it.
Yeah. I think this game is I think this game's going to give it a bit of a run for its money for our list here. But let's get into it. Yeah. So I suppose it behooves us to say that you play as a girl named Gris, who is, it's kind of an interesting name. Her name is the title of the game, right?
Okay, I didn't know that, but
yeah, no, I think it says it at some point in on the Steam page or what have you. But
maybe.
Anyway, you play as her, and you have to progress your way through. I want to say it's 5 levels, 5 sort of dedicated stages.
I think there's 5 chapters.
Yeah, 5 chapters. Well, there has to be 5 chapters, right?
It's gotta be. You'll understand in a second why we say this.
Yeah, and so the first one is very simple. It shows you there's not a whole lot of things really to do other than run and jump, right?
Yeah, it's pretty much just walk to the next place.
Yeah, not even run, walk forward and jump to the next place. So The whole
Mhm.
first level is just like jumping up platforms or walking upstairs or moving through. And eventually you get to a point where you like find what looks like a star. I would say that it's probably a star.
Yeah,
Um,
something like that. Because they make constellations later.
yeah. When
So
when you gather
I would
enough of them, they make constellations. There are certain points where there are little like hollow dots where if you have enough of the stars, it will
yeah,
fill in the dots and
they
create like a
fill in.
bridge. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Go ahead.
Um, uh, apparently there's 6 chapters? Question mark?
Well, that's what I was wondering is maybe the intro doesn't necessarily count
Yeah, I don't know.
because that's like the inciting incident.
Yeah.
Um
I'm just looking at the chapters page here where that you get from beating the game,
right.
and
But
there's
either way,
yeah,
it's
anyway.
divided up into unless I don't know, maybe like the end is also sorted into like a different portion. I'm not sure. You'd have to like go look. But
Yeah, I
either
don't know.
way, um each chapter gives you like a new power. If you're playing it on a controller, which I was, it basically like opens up a new button. Um the
I was
first
also
one
playing on a controller, but
the,
yeah.
the first one being like you
Cube.
turn into a block.
Yeah, basically like a ground pound.
Yeah. I mean, but the first thing that you use it for is like you break through the ground. You're like, "Oh, well,
Yeah,
that
that's neat.
opens up some of the
'Cause,
map."
like, you it makes you heavy
Yeah.
is what it is.
Cuz like you jump and
Because it's not just a ground pound, it makes you heavy.
yeah, and that's the most important part is that it makes you heavy.
Because
Um
like, later in the same level you get it, there's, like, heavy wind, and you're supposed to, like, walk through while you're cube.
yeah,
It makes you heavy so you don't get blown away.
right, exactly. And it's like by far the most used not even just in its own level, but like by far the most used like thing power
Yeah,
that you
for the
have
whole
like
for the whole game, yep.
maybe slightly less used than the double jump, which I
Double
think
jump,
is
yeah.
the next power that you get.
I think so.
um no, actually there is another one. I believe I really should have had this written down.
Yeah, because you get block, then you get, um don't you get double jump next?
Unless there's a
I could have
whole
sworn.
level with no power, that could be because there's only a few powers. Because there's like
No,
the
I think
block, there's the double jump, there's the water power, I
swi
guess. Yeah, the
swimming,
swimming,
yeah,
and
and
then
then
there's
singing.
the singing. Yeah,
No, I think you're right. Yeah, I think there's only the 4 power-ups. You get the block, the double jump. It's kind of like a jump glide too,
yeah, that is a much more important thing to note. That
because,
it is
um,
much more of a glide.
you
Um,
do use the glide a lot.
I'm not sure how much I really want to spend on this because today, unfortunately, I have limited time, and I really want to get to the much more juicier bits of
Yeah,
the game. Um, Suffice it to say, you go through the game. You have to find uh, the little stars. It's very apparent that you need to bring them to this center point
yeah,
once
to
you
the
get
main
there because
area.
they fly away from you up into the sky, and you're like, oh, I need to go there, right? I need that. Like obviously, I need to go over there, and so like once I get enough, then I can
You need to
progress.
progress, yeah.
Yeah, and so you go to each level and you know, you gather the requisite stars, completing like the puzzles, and the puzzles are really not difficult. This game
No,
is
they're not.
not meant to be difficult at all.
They're
Um
it's definitely a casual game.
it's an extremely casual game that's meant to be like enjoyed or like
Experience.
experienced, yeah. And that's exactly what happens really.
It really is, and it is such a good one.
Yeah. Um But yeah, there still definitely are quite a few gameplay elements. You go through, you gather each thing, you go back to the levels, and then more things happen at the end of each level. A new color gets unlocked.
Mhm.
I believe it's
Which
like red, and then
yeah, it goes red, green, blue, yellow.
yeah, I believe that is correct. And
Because every time you unlock a new color, it opens up more of the world. Because then, like, the color is like it makes the things that use that color exist.
yeah, you know what? Let's talk about the graphics now, just because we're on the topic of the colors. Um,
Yeah.
so like you said, it opens up more of the world. The thing that I looked into is uh in the making of this game, I don't know if this is correct, but it came up whenever I did a couple of Google searches. But this game looks hand like painted. It looks
Unpainted, yeah,
hand
'cause
drawn
it's
in
it's
like a watercolor.
watercolor.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's literally watercolor in a
Right.
video game, and it looks so good.
Right. And there is an artist.
Like, watercolor is probably, like, one of my favorite forms of art.
Yes. So the artist, his name is Juan Gris, and he is a Spanish painter, and he goes through and he like layers things on top of one another,
Mhm.
and he makes these like crazy surrealist things. um they're not necessarily watercolor all the time, but they are sometimes. And I don't know if it's like a happy accident that they like sort of match up, but like his art kind of resembles the game art, like not completely, because like obviously it's much more surreal,
Yeah.
but like I don't know, it's
Did you notice anything in the credits about it, or because
no, no.
I didn't.
I don't think, like I said, I think it's just a happy accident, but it's definitely like there is a style of like painting where you with watercolor, where you take your canvas, right, and then you like put a layer of paper down, and then you paint, and then you put another layer down, and then you paint on top of that, and then you put another layer down, and you paint on top of that, which is like exactly what is happening in this game,
Yeah,
basically through the levels.
it's
And
like
like
you put red down, then you put green down, then you put blue, then you put yellow.
right, and then they like mix with each other, and like there are a lot of other meta contexts, because like there's so many like dual trio meanings, like so many different meanings to everything that happened in this game, where it's like, oh, whenever red happens, um it represents an emotion. Oh no, not an emotion, like anger.
Yeah,
um
weird how that works.
and then you unlock the next color, and it represents another emotion, but it's also mixing with the red and the,
And
because you said it was, I believe it was green next, correct?
green,
And
yeah.
the green also represents like life, because it sort of makes all these square
All the
trees.
trees and plants and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. And it's like every single piece of the puzzle that they have like put on this in this game, is they're all on purpose, and they're all like
yeah.
they all like perfectly mesh together to make this incredible piece of art. Like I've heard that this is like a good game, and I've read that like it's won awards, but this is genuinely the first time where like you could look at somebody who say like video games aren't art, and you could show them this game, and
And
they
they would
would,
probably change their mind.
yeah, they would be forced to change their mind. And
They
like,
would,
not
yeah.
that I'm trying to force people to change their mind about anything, but like this game is impactful.
Mhm.
It's profound how artistic it is. Like I don't there's no other interpretation other than this is This is a passion project, piece of art by a team or somebody with a single vision that just like went through and made this
They just
insane.
handcrafted it, like, piece by piece,
Yeah,
lovingly.
like you could put a playthrough of this into a gallery somewhere and
Yeah,
it
right?
would work. You could just sit there and watch them play, and I don't know, it's so visually striking. Cuz like the girl you're playing as, she doesn't have like traditional proportions. She's wearing like uh
Like
it's much
like
more of
a fully dressed
it's like a
more of a cloak?
poncho.
Yeah, like a poncho cloak dress.
Yeah, kind of like a
Mhm.
cloak, because she has some like undergarments underneath it that are like bloomer-esque. I don't know how to really describe it. I'm terrible at describing clothes. Um
It's like a dress
yeah,
with
but I don't know
and,
if
like,
you looked at any of the,
layers.
maybe it was just me, but I looked at some of the art that you get in the game after you beat it.
Yeah, yeah, there's, like, layers to the dress.
Well,
It's like a under
but it's actually like it's actually like a Spanish poncho.
yeah.
In the like
Mhm.
what like probably beta form. I don't know, in the
Yeah, yeah,
beta
yeah,
art.
the where it had the, like, layers of color.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like everything is so inspired. I don't even know where to start to talk about any of the graphics other than like it it looks like a painting. Like, you know how, I guess the best way I can describe it as quickly as possible. It is unlike anything you've ever seen,
Mhm.
similar to the way that um what is it? Cuphead was
Yeah,
like completely unlike anything gaming has ever seen, even
yeah,
though you've
even though you
seen
know
it,
that style because of, like, old cartoons.
right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you've seen this style in like old art.
It's like, "Oh, yeah, I've seen watercolor
Of
before."
course.
Like, not like this you haven't.
but but never in a video game, and it's just like, what do you mean this is so
Yeah,
good? I kind of want to show this to our sister who is an artist and
who
like loves
is an artist
watercolor.
and specializes in
Yeah,
watercolor.
exactly, because I guarantee there are going to be some like artistic um intricacies that she
She will
will be able to
catch,
spot and we
and we
won't.
won't.
Right.
Yeah.
Like
Honestly, I
oof,
should. Yeah, I
man.
should. Is this on Switch?
I think so. If it is, I mean, send her a copy. Like, play this game. Like, it takes you a couple of hours.
Unfortunately,
That's it.
it is.
Unfortunately, it is.
No, I
Sorry,
sent
your hours, your 3 hours of time in the evenings on some random weekend are going to be consumed by playing this game.
it is. I was gonna say, unfortunately, you can't send digital games on Switch.
No, you can't.
Right, what I was going to say, but it is on Switch.
But
Um,
she'll receive it as like a birthday gift or something very soon.
yeah, I
Anyway,
guess so.
uh,
From one of
I
us, I suppose.
like I said, I don't want to linger on this too much. Um,
Yeah,
just because like I think that there's a lot to say about the story in this game and everything that isn't said, but like very much shown to us. The last sort of key here is the music, where it's just like
it is
it's all
amazing.
instrumental and it's all very very solemn, basically at all points except for when you're in like the I guess it would say be like one or two or three of the boss
Like
fight
the
type things.
few boss fight esque things.
And it's not even like a boss fight, it's just kind of like a chase sequence, really.
Yeah, pretty much. You can't really because there's no combat
Yeah,
in
no,
this
there's
game.
no combat. Like you do have a ground pound, but like you can't use it to
It's
fight.
not a it's not an attack. It's just makes you heavier.
Right.
It's for breaking floors and um stopping wind.
Basically,
That's
yeah, making yourself heavy. And then by making yourself heavy, you can prevent yourself from blowing away. You can lower platforms because they're heavier. Um, yeah,
yeah.
etc.
but yeah, the music is like, as you said, solemn. But I did notice that like it was never just one song.
Oh
It
no,
was like
it's
it was like the song, but like if you did something specific or like anything, it would change based on what you were doing or where you are.
yeah, absolutely. It's
And it was
genuinely
like that was one thing I noticed like happened a lot, and I'm like, wow, this is great.
yeah, pretty much everything you did is you know, there's a new tune that comes out when you hit it. You know, we said that there are what, 6 sections, 6 chapters,
Yeah.
and like within one chapter, the tune could change like
Hmm.
like a dozen times even, and it would be so unique going from track to track. They'd all have a similar feel in each section, but
Yeah.
you know, this game does not have a problem that a lot of other games do, in that you know it has the variety for sure, and you definitely don't get tired listening to it. In fact, I took the time to go and listen to the unused tracks, because they had unused tracks. Like,
Yeah.
what?
I'm looking at those right now.
Yeah, they put them in the game and they say, here, listen to them. You can play these whenever you feel like it. And like, they're each of them are just like also so unique. And I don't know, like, I literally, I was doing my best to find flaw with this game, and I just can't.
I don't know if there is one.
like if we're talking about gameplay, the platforming is extremely tight. The character
Yeah.
moves at a much slower rate than you want, but exactly
But like
within the like theme
with
of everything you're
within the
doing.
yeah, theme, and also like yeah, I guess that's would be the exactly within theme of
That
how
character,
fast how fast they want to go.
right? And like, man, I don't.
And also it's like I assume the developers don't want you going too fast because,
Yeah,
just
they want you to stop and smell
they
the
want you to
roses.
they want you to experience the game, not
Yeah,
just speed through it.
right.
Just run everywhere.
And like,
You have one speed.
I'm peeking at some of the footage, and it's like some of the, like, if you're up in the like wind area, the sky area that you get launched to,
Hmm.
there are these fans that unfurl, and that, like, if you had an option to run, they would unfurl too slowly, but because you move at a set rate, they unfurl perfectly as you're about to reach them, or as you're about to like
Oh yeah, yeah.
walk
The
over them.
um like the windmill area.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know what
yes,
you mean.
exactly. And
I noticed that too,
it's just
and it's
so
perfect.
gratifying. I can't explain to you how gratifying it is, to where, you're walking along and you're like, "Whoa, I can't jump over that gap." And then the floor just makes itself for you right there. It's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, whoa, that was so cool." Like, I knew it was going to happen, but I didn't know like what was going to happen, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
um yeah, I just like, I can't get over how much of this game was made with just so much care and effort. Like this is one of those, another one of those times, and I think I said this on the um there was another game, I don't know if it was the Undertale episode or if it was something else, but like, this, I didn't know they made games like this. Oh, it was Turnip Boy. I didn't know they made
Yeah.
games like this, where it's like, for example, Turnip Boy was so like brash and ridiculous and wonky and hilarious and just goofy, to the point where like it breaks all of the normal standards that you would,
That you would think would be in a game. Yeah.
that, yeah, like it, you're just gonna go destroy stuff, you're gonna go tear up people's stuff and be the antagonist, but you're actually the protagonist, you gotta defeat some other bad guy, and ah ha ha. But like, this game is unlike
Hmm.
anything that I ever thought anyone could make, because like every single thing that they want you to feel, like you're just
You're
going to feel it,
you're going to feel it.
like no matter what, basically.
Hmm.
So I don't know.
And
It's wow. Like yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, so let's talk about the story. Let's talk
story.
about
Yeah,
the story. I'm gonna let you go, but before you go, I'm gonna preface this by saying this game, there are 0 words. This is a
correct.
Hobbes situation.
Yeah, this is like so much is said without speaking.
Yeah, this is all show, no tell. Absolutely just like incredible storytelling. Like if you wanted to try to like make a class that was like storytelling, not even 101, but like what is it called, storytelling where it's like the stuff around you, I'm losing words, environmental storytelling.
Yeah, that's the
This
one.
game does this in spades, like best I've ever seen, better than the last time I said best I've ever seen, okay? Which
Yeah,
I is probably Hob. Like
probably.
bring both of those games into your classroom and just show them to people.
Yeah,
There's so much that can be
just
gleaned just
hand them
from
out and be like, "Go play this.
yeah,
It's your
like
homework.
that's your homework. Yeah. It's
Beat
just
this and come back to me."
yeah. Um oh man. Like all right.
Yeah,
So
it's great.
I'll let you start with the story.
So the story starts out with, I think you wake up on, well, first off, you wake up in black and white, and you wake up on this like statue, I think,
Yeah.
of a girl. You just wake up on her hand.
You don't actually it is in full color. I'm
Is
actually
it?
just rewatching the opening scene
Is it
now.
in
It
full
is in full
color?
color. That's an important detail.
Okay, yeah, it is in full color. And then I guess something happens in which you fall. You start falling down, and then I think there's no color, right?
Yeah. So she's like singing in the hand,
Yeah,
which is something that you do multiple times throughout the game every time you get a color back.
yeah,
But
you're
then
you're on a
everything starts
statue.
like cracking and crashing down and your voice no longer works and it's like,
Hmm.
"Oh no," and then she collapses.
Yeah, and I think that's when you like fall and wake up on the ground in black and white.
Yeah.
So, obviously something must have happened, and then
Right, it's
as you're
this
going through,
big inciting incident.
yeah, as you're going through these levels and like finding all these stars and you know like places, your main goal is like to get to the statues, 'cause,
Yeah, in each
there
section,
in each section there's statues of a woman, and you
like
like
holding her
that's where you
hand out,
get,
I believe.
yeah, and that's where you get the colors back.
Yeah. I just
So
want to
like,
go back to the very beginning, um, because I think it's really worth like mentioning where whenever you get control of the character, it's like really zoomed in and like everything's in black and white and like smoky except for her hair, which is like aqua colored.
mhm.
And if you're
And it's
listening to this on YouTube, you might have watched this in the first 30 seconds. Um,
yeah,
but as
it's
she's walking, she like collapses multiple times. And if you press any button that isn't like move to the right, you will collapse. Right.
yes, yep.
So like it's showing that like something horrible just happened. Some like extremely difficult painful event just occurred to this character and like she feels out of control and she's very weak, she's very like vulnerable, and
Mm.
it's like this part really shows that like it takes incredible strength for her to like get up and start moving
Get up
again.
and move on, yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
it's ooh man, it's like powerful.
But yeah, I think her hair stays aqua colored through the entire game, no
Yeah,
matter what.
in spite of like the gray uh backgrounds that become less gray as things go on, her hair
Yeah,
does remain as vibrant as like
the first
the
beginning.
first scene. Yeah. Um, maybe that has like maybe that has something to do with something. I don't know.
Maybe, I don't know, just like strength of will or something. I don't know.
Maybe I don't know. I don't know. Um,
But yeah, anyway, it's like you're trying to find these statues to regain color, um, because this horrible thing happened, and you're trying to like bring color back to the world, um, because like obviously whatever happened is like bad enough to basically put this character into like a depression.
yeah. Um, yeah.
So
You're trying to like restore what once was. I guess you could say.
yeah, it's like um yeah, pretty much. So as you can imagine, there's 5 chapters, or 6-ish, I don't know. Uh, and there also, happens to be 5 stages of grief.
Yeah. Which I wasn't quite sure of. Um,
Um, I wasn't either until the end because, like, well, I mean,
well,
I don't think I would have known unless the Steam achievement popped up saying stage 5 acceptance.
right.
I'm like, that's what that is.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course.
But I
There's.
mean, like, but like, still, it's like because it's so solemn the whole game, and
It's yeah. It's
like you're
extremely solemn.
constantly you're constantly trying to find these statues, and the statues are what gives you color. So it's like obviously the big event that happened is someone must have died who is close to her,
Right.
or um something like that, and she like retreated into her own world and is trying to figure out and get through it.
Well, I think uh like most things in good storytelling, this is a big analogy. This is a
Yeah,
big like um the story is being told through a lot of like inference and a lot of like here like you have to sort of I guess I don't want to say like infer everything that happens, but like you
mhm,
basically have to assume a lot of things like
yeah,
because
like figure this out.
there's no like characters that are ever introduced except for like you and then the shadow creature. Those are like it, right? Well, I guess
Yeah,
there is the little blockhead guy in the green
yeah,
level.
that's true.
um but
The
I
apples.
like there's no like interactable char- characters you can like genuinely
No,
interact with. There
no, you
aren't any
can't.
characters that talk. There's nothing like that, right? But like you like so it's never really clearly spelled out that anybody has died or passed away or anything like that.
Yeah,
um but this is just telling a story of somebody, maybe in real life or maybe in a video game, where like something happened that is so impactful that they're grieving.
yeah.
Which generally, like you said, tends to be around death.
It tends to be around death. Yeah,
um and they're going through the 5 stages of grief, which um is denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance.
yeah,
um I don't know, like it's the reason why I said over our text I wasn't sure if that was the case is because like the first color is red,
is
which I
red.
would
Yeah,
say is denial, right? But then
I would
if I
think
think of, or not denial, is anger, sorry. But the
anger.
thing
Yeah,
is like there are only 4 colors that you get.
yeah.
And
So
so
then, what would be
denial is the
probably
gray,
gray,
just
right?
the absence of color, right?
Absence of color would be like, yeah, that
Which is
makes
the
sense.
first level. And then you go through and you get red, and then you go through the red
Red is
level, which is the
anger,
windmill, and then you
which
get green, which mixes with red and
I didn't
becomes
really
bargaining.
think about this at all. But like, if you think about it, like the wind that that can be angry. Like the block ability.
Yeah. Well,
We said it may not be an attack, but like
well, it's not necessarily an attack; it's a defense.
it's a defense.
Right.
Yeah,
You're
like
putting up your
anger.
barriers. You're making yourself
The
unmovable,
wind.
unflappable.
The wind is angry. The etc. So
Well,
like the
no,
levels are
because
very themed.
this is still in. We're still in denial territory. Whenever you do get the block and your like the wind is blowing, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
And so think about it like
No, because
the
I
wind is
thought
blowing and pushing her
that
over.
happens after red.
I don't think so. Let's check the
Because I'm
footage.
pretty sure all the sand is red.
Okay, yeah, it's
I could
directly
have sworn
after.
you get red. Because like the bargain, the denial happens like
No, you're right.
immediately
You're correct.
until you get to the first statue. She's like walking all slow and like collapses a few times.
Yeah, you're right. I
And
mixed it up in
she
my
like
head.
cries a bit, I think, at one point.
Um,
But yeah, then you get red, which is anger. The wind is angry. You have your defense against the wind, etc.
right.
Bargaining, I guess, is green.
Yeah. Well, and that makes sense because in the green level, like I said, there is a character Blockhead that we do
Yeah, you meet.
meet who follows you around and you have
Mhm.
to get him to do things for you. Like
Yeah,
clear the way
you do
by
like
giving
feed him
him apples.
apples. You feed him apples and he does things.
Right. So that's bargaining.
Mhm.
So, like, quite literally, they're showing you that, like, you need to bargain with this creature in order to progress.
Yeah.
Um, Now that could be an analogy for, like, bargaining with yourself in order to, like, get through that stage of grief. That could
Yeah.
be a quite literal representation. It's a lot happier than I would imagine an
Yeah.
actual grieving person would take things. Because like the blockhead character is like very very upbeat and very happy and very excited to like go along with you.
Yeah.
Because you're giving it exactly what it wants. You're giving it like food, right?
Mhm.
um but as I guess one thing that we missed here is like before you go into like the true red level with the windmills, you get sent down into the like the depths, or you like fall into the depths, right? Because you use
Yeah.
your little block power in the wrong place, and you get sent into this like black and white mirror
Yeah.
place,
Mhm. You
and
do, don't you?
you like basically inevitably let free the darkness inside of the character, which
Yeah.
is in the form of what looks like a bunch of like
Butterflies,
flying triangles.
flies,
Yeah.
something like that. I don't know. I assumed they're like butterflies,
Yeah, it looked like they look like butterflies or crows or something like that.
something.
And
But
then
like,
they like fly you up to the windmill area. Um, Anyway,
yeah,
that'll come into play like a little bit later because there we did say that there are boss fights, etc., etc. Um, yeah, so you get through the green level and you unlock the next area, which is because it's not you unlock double jump and then you go through to is it yellow or is it
no, you get blue
you
next.
get blue next? That's right, because that
You get
unlocks
blue at
the
the end of
water area.
the end of the yeah. You get blue at the end of the green.
Right. So after you get double jump, this is your first sort of like boss fight. You climb up to the top of this like tower sort of thing.
Yeah, it's sort of a boss fight.
Yeah, you
Like
basically just have to
the darkness like forms into a big bird,
right
and like
chases you
you have
around.
to you have to well, what I mean, it's kind of a boss fight. You basically have to like make it ring the bell,
Yeah,
and then
and
it
then
goes
the
away.
bell like scares it off.
Yeah,
Yeah,
temporarily.
it's just a fancy way of progressing forward, really.
Yeah,
um,
but I mean, what can you do with no combat, right?
yeah, and that's fine.
Um,
I think it worked.
it's fine.
And as soon
Uh,
as you get the blue color, it is like it's raining everywhere, and
mhm.
more areas open up, and it opens these like
There's
blue.
water, there's, like, crystals, there's
Yeah,
many things.
it's kind of wild actually. How much it changes because it didn't really change that much between getting red and getting green, and
Yeah,
then you get blue and like suddenly everything changes. You got to
yeah,
go like below the area that you normally have been, going around with the. It's marked by a turtle. And then you go to the water area, which is like pitch black, which makes sense because guess what? Our third, or I guess our fourth stage is depression.
depression. It's like, deep down in the water, you know, just dark,
Yeah, it's
dank,
like you're in the pits.
the pits.
It's dark, it's wet, it's cold because like later on it gets even colder and it's like
Yeah, you
ice.
get, like,
You know,
icy.
depression is crippling to the point where like you could be frozen
Mhm.
if you wanted to use that analogy. And then you go through, and honestly, I think that this area, like talking gameplay wise, I think that this area might be my favorite.
Which one? The ice area or the, like, full water
Just the
underwater area?
water ice area, like together. I think it was pretty
Yeah,
neat.
that's fair.
Though the ice area didn't really last that long. You just kind of like did
Yeah,
two
I
puzzles, and then
I
you
kinda
unlocked
wish there was
the
more of the ice, but
yeah. And
I
then
understand.
the water opens up and you gain the like water form
Yeah,
and
you
you
get the
can
swimming ability.
begin progressing. Um, Once you get through this whole area, it's all very like interesting and it gets darker and then you go down
Yeah.
even further and then oh no, you like and you I guess it's like you unblocked this turtle,
Yeah,
saved him.
you, like, woke it up,
Yeah, you woke it up and
which
it
he then leads you through the darkness deeper into the water,
right because it's
and
like
then,
a lot of
to
times
find
people when they're depressed during grief will say like this one thing sort of got me through the hard times and they're talking about the depression and it's like it's always darkest before the night or before the light and
yeah.
he basically does that for you um,
Mhm, mhm.
and then you go through and you unlock the next color
Yeah, which is yellow.
which is yellow and then that I guess it would be I get the hand sort of gets destroyed by the darkness.
Yeah, like, the whole statue and everything gets, like, broken, and then
Right.
it starts chasing you up back through the water,
Right, as an
um,
eel, it looks
in the
like.
form of an eel, so it's like a whole chase sequence.
I don't know if you can actually lose this. I
I
did
don't
not die. I did
I
not
don't
test it.
know either. I didn't test it either. I actually got an achievement that said avoid the eel bites.
Yeah,
Um,
so
I don't actually
um
know if by that implies something to where you can probably get hit once or twice.
right, but
I don't know if you can lose it, but you can, I would assume, get hit.
right. Um
But, like, still, you have to, like, swim away as fast as you can.
right.
Eventually, you get to a point where you're not fast enough, and the turtle comes up and saves you,
Yeah, turtle bro.
and,
And
leads you back
then
to the, like, surface.
yep, and then you can turn in your little stars and then yeah, you
And then you move
can
on
move on to the
to
next one.
the area which is, like, because yellow unlocks, like, light, basically.
Yeah. Um it's kind of a weird way to describe it, but I guess light is the most accurate.
I mean, it literally does because, like, after you unlock yellow, that's,
Oh
like,
yeah, all the lanterns are lit. That's
all the
true.
lanterns are lit, all the, like, glow caps under the water
Yeah, and
are
then
lit.
it's sort of there are a lot of different sections that are
The
like
whole ass
invisible.
moon shows up.
Yeah, yeah, true. That are invisible, but then like become slightly more tangible.
Mhm.
Um, And then this one is like, it's definitely absolutely the longest section.
It
It
is the
combines
longest
all the
section.
elements of all the other sections, in that, like, you have to double jump a lot, you've got to use the block a lot, there are cubes
Mhm.
of water in the area, and then it introduces a new gameplay mechanic, which is basically like, what was it, VVVVVVV.
Yeah, it, like, flips you upside down on the ceiling,
Yeah,
but
which
it's
is,
like, almost completely mirrored
yeah,
from
which
the where you
honestly,
flip.
I feel like that by itself, like, it sort of, this section is the most difficult. Uh, all
Yeah.
the other ones didn't really give me a challenge, but this one I was like, oh, I actually have to
No.
think. Hang on.
Yeah, yeah.
But like, this is
I think
also,
this one was probably my favorite section. The water
yeah,
one was very good, but
makes sense. But this would be acceptance, right?
yes,
And the way
which
that I
I guess is
interpret,
yellow.
right, the way that I interpret all this is that, like, you're going through the 5 stages of grief, and at every turn there's this darkness inside the character that's basically saying, like, no, don't do that, like like, the badness is coming for you, like, it's not going to
As
be fine, like, give in.
would, as what any inner demon would tell you.
Right, exactly. um I guess I forgot to mention that you do get another power, which is the power of your character's voice, which
Yeah.
opens up flowers. And, like, that's really, I think that's really symbolic of, like, oh, this is the thing that she loves to do. And
Mhm.
so, like, you are given the ability to do it, and it's truly restoring the area back to what it should be whenever she sings, which is, like,
Mhm.
really, really cool. Like,
Like
really, really
regrowing the
cool.
flowers, putting the color back into it,
Yeah,
etcetera, etcetera.
reviving all these, like, little creatures that are powered by the area. Like,
Yeah.
it's all very, 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 very cool. um like, definitely
And it
mechanics that
makes
I've never
me
seen before.
it makes me think it's like she she likes to sing, and then, like, stopped whenever the horrible thing at the beginning happened. So she stopped singing,
Well, I think it's even worse than that, right? Because,
she,
um
like, lost her voice.
yeah, I think it's more along the lines of, like, she was unable to sing. And I've seen
Yeah.
this, or, well, maybe not seen, but I've read about whenever people, like, have a loved one that they lose, or they're going through, like, heavy grief, that, like,
Mhm.
things that they
They
used to love doing and did on a daily basis, like, they genuinely just, like,
they
cannot
just
do them
it, like,
anymore.
blocks.
Yeah,
It's like a mental block or
it's an
something.
actual block that makes it so that they can't do that thing any longer. And it's like, wow.
Yeah.
Personally, I don't have any experience with any type of, like, insane grief, like debilitating 5 stages of grief level pain like that. Like, I feel like I've had a pretty easy life in that regard. Just
Yeah.
my own mental problems and anxieties that are not really shit compared to what a lot of people have gone
This.
through.
Yeah.
um
Exactly.
but,
Um,
I yeah, I don't, it's just, it's so, even being somebody from the outside, it's so vivid. It's
yeah.
so impactful as you're going through, and it's just like, oh, she regained her voice. Like, that's important. It
It
really,
is.
really is important to putting back her life together, back to what it should be. And you can
Mhm.
see, as the world is, like, going through, that it's transforming into this, like, lush, beautiful place where, instead of, like, broken pillars, like, the light
The
has like
light
fixed
restores it
them.
via, like, I guess, like, transparent whatever.
Right. And, like, there are flowers everywhere. There are these, like, beautiful lotuses, and, like,
Mhm.
these little animals that just kind of, like, exist there.
Hung
And,
out.
like, the sky is clear, and it's this beautiful shade of purple, and, like, all these different colors. And it's just her life is great now. It's back to where it should be. And she's like, oh, I finally got all the stars, and I'm going to ascend through this pain back to where I should be, and go back to, you know normal, and then the very end of the game happens.
The darkness, right as you're about to go onto the like stars to go up,
Right.
darkness, of course,
It like the
like
only way I can describe it is like
pulls you back.
yeah. Well, but first it because I'm watching back. I should do this more often. Really, is like rewatch my footage as I talk about it.
Yeah, I mean that.
But like this is really pertinent. Is that the darkness like comes up and stops you from going up and is like, hey, but then it takes the form of her
Mm-hmm.
with the same color hair
Yep.
and the same face as like a lot of the statues, and like basically in a scream destroys the world and makes it like pure white, and she like falls through into like
dark.
the pitch darkness.
Is literally just black.
Yeah. And she climbs up through.
You have to like swim back up through all the black until you get to the surface. In which case, I think that's where I got the like acceptance achievement.
Yeah.
But anyway.
But then you get up to the broken hand, and like as you're going, you'll notice that you're like trailing little dark like bits, and you start singing when you get up there.
Start singing on the hand, and like the statue starts reforming.
Yeah.
And like the darkness then tries to like make you stop before you can fully repair the statue.
Mm-hmm.
And then she manages to repair it in time, and then it's like
it's like a race, basically.
Yeah, it's like and then it's like once the statue is complete, the darkness is like banished. I guess.
Well, yeah, and it's like this could even be something like it's a person who got a traumatic injury that prevented them from being able to sing, right?
Yeah.
Their life fell apart. They were unable to do the things that they are normally loved to do, that keeps their like mental state correct, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then as you go through the game, you're picking up the pieces of your life and you're putting them back together, and then like you're doing like voice therapy, and you're figuring out ways to like make yourself better, and then the very end is like your self-doubt creeping in, and like it's do or die at the very very end, where you have to sing this one time or you're never going to be able to do it again. And like then all the color comes back to the statue, and like all is right in the world, basically. And it's like you think about it like that, and all of a sudden it's like, oh my god, like
holy crap,
just like magical. Like I can't like
just no words, honestly.
No words. For real.
Not even any
for
words.
real, like actually no words. Like I'm like, not only because of time constraints, I'm just gonna say we need to end the episode because like you need to go buy this game. How much is this game? Is it like $10? Like
something
store
like
page.
that.
Let's go look right now. This game is $15. Okay,
and it's worth.
It's
like way worth.
Buy this game. It's $15. We bought it on sale for like, I don't know. I think it was like $5 for this, and then $2 for last week's game. I think we spent $7 on that total. Yeah, go buy this game full price. No. If I could have, I would have bought this game full price just to support these people.
Yeah. Honestly, it's definitely worth full price.
Like, just
absolutely,
seriously, one of the most magical experiences in a video game I've ever had.
And probably, I would say, probably the first 10 out of 10. Gotta say.
I think we might have given one to
I think we might have given something,
but
10 out of 10 to something else. But
yeah, I think
still,
it was Undertale. Yeah,
like 10 out of 10. 11 out of 10.
Like 11 out of 10 even. Like I'm totally cool giving this like I'm calling it now probably the best game of the year. Even though it did not come out this year. I think it came out in like 2019.
Yeah, it was
But the best game that we
something.
played this year. So,
Yeah,
um, yeah,
it was a 18 game,
or
2018.
2018. Oh yeah, that's not bad. Um,
But yeah, anyway, go play it. It's so good. The
just
soundtrack is great. Go buy that too.
yeah, just go play this game wholeheartedly. I know that it's won like a million awards, and so it's like, oh, you're just telling us something that we already knew. But I didn't know how good this game
But
was going
I
in.
think it
I had
only
heard that it
won.
won awards, but I
I think it
was
only
like,
won one award, just the Outstanding Visual Style Award
yeah, it should have
for
won more than that.
2019. It should have won more
um,
than that, honestly.
yeah, I don't know, man. I think this game is
And you know
unbelievable.
what? You know what? The developer's coming out with another game.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What's that?
It's not like a sequel or anything, but it's
No, but
called
it doesn't
Neva.
matter. Is it the developer, Nomada Studio?
Nope, Nomada Studio is coming out with and same publisher too, Devolver.
Wow.
Neva, which who knows what that's going to be about.
How do
I mean,
you?
what it says is it's
No.
just
Devolver
you
Digital? No. I
no
clicked on the
no
wrong thing.
go to the Gris store page and then you can see um recent events and announcements.
Oh, I see that. Yeah.
You can click on the game.
Okay. Well, I'll add that to my wish list because,
Yeah.
of course, I will.
But yeah,
Yeah. Wow. The
I
fact that this only
can't wait
has
for
an
that.
84 on Metacritic, just
They don't know what they're talking about.
just
It's Metacritic.
take everything away from these people. All right, that's it.
Yeah, we
Go buy the
gotta end.
game. 11 out
Go
of 10.
11
Holy
out of
shit.
10.
Thank you so much for listening. Oh, our game for next week. Do you remember what it is? I do. You want me to tell them?
What it is? Yeah, go ahead.
Doors Paradox. It's a game called
that's
Doors
what it
Paradox. I believe it is another puzzle game.
Yes.
That's all I know. So, all right. Thank you so much for listening.
Yep. Thank you.
Have a good one. Go buy this game. And we'll see you next week. Goodbye.
All right. Bye-bye.